All right, now to Melbourne, where today farmers protested the Albanese and Andrews government's net zero plan to carve up some of our country's most pristine agricultural land with gargantuan wind and solar farms and these colossal, they're as high as the Sydney Harbour Bridge pylons, these transmission towers. Joining me to discuss this, one of the protest organisers, seventh generation beef farmer, merino wool grower too, Glendon Watts. Glendon, we were just talking, you and I, in that pre-rec. You're from Charlton, not far from where I was born in Chipproof, 20 minutes away.
Yep.
People up that way aren't natural activists. You're not natural protesters. What got you out of Charlton and down to Melbourne today?
Yeah, not at all. So I think we've basically come to Melbourne to be heard, Peta. Unfortunately, we've tried multiple times on multiple levels to have a discussion, around what we can do here and slowing the process down and doing it properly. We continue to be ignored. As you say, we're not people that come to Melbourne generally, let alone to protest and act, to kind of try and raise our awareness. But as we feel, it's kind of like it's just escalating, and this is what it's come to, that we've brought tractors, farmers, rural community members, by the hundreds down to Melbourne today.
My audience, we've talked about this a lot. It's clearly not just a Victorian issue. It runs all the way up, mainly the eastern seaboard. Help us understand what the impact of these towers would do to your farming land and your community more broadly, because it's not just the farmers, is it? There's the people in the town who are uptight about this as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's everyone, and obviously we're a spider web up there. Everyone relies on everyone, sort of thing. So I guess it's a lot of, where does it start? I guess some of the more bigger issues, I guess, is the restrictions around farming within them, under them, near them, easements, access to our properties, biosecurity risk. A big one's land devaluation. So obviously, our farmers we're asset rich, but we use our asset to borrow money to invest, produce. To lose up to 50% is what they're speaking or talking of. About
your land valuation. Wow.
By 50%. So that in itself is going to be detrimental to everyone. Then there goes the added risks of, the likes of fighting fires and using aircraft and technology, machinery under these, underneath the lines and stuff like that. Today we saw in Melbourne that CFA volunteers are throwing their uniforms on the ground because they're not comfortable with this. They're not going to take on this added risk of additional transmission lines in the community. It's dangerous enough fighting fire, but when these fires, we're not allowed to get within a certain distance because the risk of arcing and stuff like this, they're not comfortable with that, and nor they should be. So it flows right on. And then also, the impacts to the environment, to the local communities in terms of the social and mental impacts that, you speak of the community members. Obviously, the landholders are the ones that are going to have it pushed through, and then it's the community members that are also affected. And the mental impacts are across the board. It doesn't matter if you're on a land or on the rural community, we're all one. And it doesn't matter if it's my farm or yours or the neighbours, we're still that community, and it's affecting us all. So there's, I guess the issues, the implications go on and on and on. And in terms of, it's not only the physical aspect, but the mental aspect of how they've treated us along the way has been a real...
Yeah, I was just going to ask you there. I mean, you make a really powerful point on the CFA. I didn't actually think of that, but Victoria, in a dry summer, is a tinderbox, unlike most other states. And we've seen just massive loss of life. I think the fires in Maui have brought all of that home to Victorians. So you're right to make that point. But just on the mental health impact and this idea that, come hell or high water, it's going to happen to you. What's been the consultation? I mean, how much consultation have these communities had?
You tell me, almost. Very little. We started off, we heard about this through the media, that there's now this option 5 that AMO released, and it's kind of coming up through the Mallee, and that was the first we knew of the project. It was released to us, and, AMO were doing, community consultations, which was, it was a debacle. They were meant to attend St Arnaud to a community event, and they didn't attend.
They didn't turn up?
Didn't turn up, no. Charlton, we had a meeting in Charlton, rally the farmers and community members. No, they don't want to be a part of that. They did come to Wedderburn.
I mean, this is a government agency, I might add. This is the Australian Energy Market Regulator. I mean, we pay their taxes, we pay our taxes to pay their wages, and they don't turn up.
No, don't turn up. So, and then, with kind of, I think that obviously naturally brought a lot of frustration and news and this sort of thing. And then the Victorian government steps in and brings out TCV. So AMO are no longer doing it, now it's TCV. And then all of a sudden TCV are in the communities doing the community consultations, popping up, I think, across 5 locations across the VNI West for 3 or 4 hours in the afternoon. And then, conveniently on Saturday afternoon when Snarn's playing sport, of course it's between 2 and 4, so that sort of thing. So they've had their community consultation, but the only thing that was being written down by the staff at these was your name as you walked in the front door. There was nothing more.
Okay, I'm going to come back to this and absolutely stay on the issue, but what, out of today, what next for you? How can my audience and people watching tonight get involved? How can we support you?
It's a great question. I guess we need a voice, and we need to be loud. We need to be heard. They need to know, as you pointed out, we don't do this every day, and we definitely don't put our tools down lightly. You know, to get what we have down here, we're serious. We're frustrated. We need to be heard. So, I think that we need to increase that awareness as best we can. We've given plenty of opportunity to the media today to push it out, and obviously this is fantastic. So, getting behind us, letting them, the Labor government know that it's not just about literally the transmission lines, but the flow-on effects, that the food security, the cost of, for all your listeners, the cost of the grocery bill is going to go up. The cost of power is going to go up. You know, these projects, there might be a government, transmission line, but we're going to pay for it at the end of the day. So they need to be aware of that, and we need to have a voice. We need to come together, and we need to say, whether it's at state or federal level, we go, look, guys, this is not on. This is not comfortable. Slow it down. Take a step back. Have a look. Let's do this properly. It's not just about me. It's about my child and their children on the land. It's like it's going to be over the next 60 years. You're
pretty bloody articulate. I reckon you need to get to Canberra and have a word with the politicians up there and keep this voice going. But as I said, I will do it on this show, and you've got a standing invitation. But keep up the fight, Glendon.
Appreciate it, Peter. Thank you very much.